All right, welcome back to another episode of the In Between Overs podcast. We're your hosts for today. I'm Taran.
And I'm Ishan.
All right, so we're coming live and direct from Mexico, but one of us is.
Lucky him.
Yeah. Okay, so we had daddy hundreds, we had big runs, we had a big target set, and then we had some big wickets at the end of the day. If you are an Indian fan, the day three that just happened was a great day for for if you are an Indian fan. Not so much if you're an Australian fan, but we'll talk more about it as we go. Ishan, thoughts on the day? You stayed up pretty late, you said?
My gosh, 4:30. That's the thing. It was a match where everything that could have went right for India went right. Great day for Indian cricket. Australian cricket will definitely, after this test match, will have to look itself in the mirror and potentially make some changes. But overall, though, I think it was a great day for test match cricket. Great batting, decent bowling as well, but upper hand India for sure.
Yeah. India definitely has the advantage. Australia just kind of looked a little like they did on day two, towards the end of day two, where they at that point were just waiting for the declaration, especially during Kohli and Reddy's partnership, of which we'll come back to. But let's start with the big one, the big partnership that just kept going, Rahul and Jaiswal. So Rahul, I mean not Rahul, but Jaiswal. Jaiswal hit his 100. He did the thing that everyone wanted him or expected him to do, and he's done it now. Got that pressure off his shoulders. He scored 100 in Australia.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was one of those, as a lot of commentators were saying, that those prodigy hundreds. Tendulkar announced himself in the scene at Perth. Kohli's has had success in Perth as well. Jaiswal, just coming from the same cloth, right? So 100 and then converting it to 150, and I'm sure everyone else on the pod knows as well. It's his fourth time where he's had 100 and he's converted that to 150. Just goes to show his thirst and hunger for runs. But then you cannot also undermine Gail Rahul's impact in this match. Exactly what you want from an opening stance. He was clinical, he was technical. I think how you should bat in Australia is exactly how Jaiswal Rahul did opening the stand for India. So I think that really set the tone for India as well.
Yeah, and I know this is a temporary opening partnership, but they seem such a good fit for each other because you have Jaiswal that's more outgoing in his stroke play, right? The way he strikes the ball, he's more free flowing. Not that Rahul isn't, but Rahul is more defensive minded, and it's a good complement for each other. So you have Rahul holding one end, taking the single, scoring the boundary when it allows him to do it, and then with Jaiswal, he's able to go for his shots and respect the bowler as well. But they seem to have complemented each other really well during the partnership.
Yeah, no, to your point, it is a temporary opening partnership. I think it'll be some very interesting discussions post test match on how you want to set up the India's batting lineup going forward. Opening stand is exactly what you had wanted in this test match. So big shutout, and you got to give the flowers to both KL Rahul and Jaiswal.
Yeah, and then once Rahul got out, there's a little bit of a stutter from the batting lineup. Well, you had Padikkal come in and he put up a small partnership with Jaiswal, and then Padikkal got out and triggered a little bit of a collapse there. What's interesting is I feel like it couldn't have played better for India because Jurel, Padikkal are probably the incumbents to leave the team to make room for Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma back in, and it's actually good that they didn't score runs because now there's no headaches. Now it's an easier decision for management and the captains to just okay, we're just gonna drop Jurel and Padikkal, and then we're gonna move Rahul probably to six, and then Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma come right in.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Unfortunate for their individual contributions and potential future for the series, but it does allow India to relieve some headaches going forward for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So we had the daddy from Jaiswal, and then we had a beautiful 100 from Kohli. I mean, it couldn't have been set up better for him. He comes in at a stage with not much pressure on India. India just looking to pile up their score, pile up their runs, and look to set a daunting target for Australia. So he came in, he played his game. He got some he got some pretty ordinary bowling towards the end when you had Labuschagne, Travis
Negative
Head.
bowling.
Yeah. It was, and he took full advantage, and it was one of those hundreds that you deserve being the player that Kohli has been for India, the servant of a batsman that he's been for India for the past decade. To score 100 like that is like one of those rewarding hundreds. He deserved 100 like that. It doesn't happen often. He's come in so many pressure situations, scored so many pressure situation hundreds for India. For him to have one like that, I felt was very deserving.
No, I exactly get what you mean. Usually when he's coming in one down or two down, it's that pressure situation where you have to make runs for that lead. But India was in a very comfortable situation, and Kohli looked comfortable. He looked at ease. He wasn't batting too outside of his crease either, as he was in the first innings. Very much Kohli like. He was running great in between the wickets, converting those twos to threes. Very confident of those. And yeah, to your point, the 100 was very cathartic. It was like a sense of relief that, okay, good for Kohli. He was under pressure for the last 2 years. I think this was the second time this year getting a score above 50. So great for him. And I think it's great confidence for him going forward in the series. It's your first test match. Getting 100 under your belt in the first test match of a series is great for your confidence going forward.
Oh my God, yeah. Can you imagine how the Australians feel right now? They just allowed two of India's better batsmen to get some confidence under the belt, to release some pressure for them from a scoring standpoint. And now they're going to go into the following innings and test matches with a ton of confidence. And you can only imagine how the Australians feel. Um, yeah. It's gonna
No,
be interesting to see.
no, exactly. And not only how they feel emotionally, how they feel physically, because they've been bowling for so long. In a lead over 500, and we cannot forget Reddy's contribution as well. As soon as
Yeah,
he came in, it felt like it was T20 cricket for him. Very comfortable stroke plays, and he was hitting them really
yes,
well.
yeah, clean, clean sixes.
Clean sixes. I'm sure that's what the dugout told him to do, especially as they were nearing the point of declaration that Boomer wanted. But no, great batting, and you do feel for the Australian bowlers because, as you were saying, emotionally they're devastated, but also physically they must be exhausted.
Yeah, let's talk about mileage. So Stark, 26 overs in his legs. Hazelwood, 21 overs. Shout out to Hazelwood again. 28 runs, 9 maidens. Economy of 1.33. Then you had Cummins, 25 overs. And Lyon, too, 39 overs. I know as a spinner, it doesn't exhaust you as much in your legs, but I'm pretty sure your fingers definitely feel it from trying to turn the ball. It's not easy to grip the seam and to constantly try to put something into the ball, get those revs in. Doing it for 39 overs is quite a task. And yeah, it's good from India's point of view again, putting mileage in the legs and the fingers and making it tougher on Australia for the test matches coming up. You can probably sense that they would probably be forced now to make a change or two just so that they could have these guys be able to perform for the majority of the series, and that may mean resting them for a test or two or alternating between the bowlers.
No, exactly. And what a better scene for India. Going into the series, it was essentially, India's batting versus their bowling, I think. And because their bowling was so great on paper, and everyone was saying how the upper hand was for the Australians. But
Yes,
what India
yes.
really wanted to do was, put those mileage in, get them, because it's five test matches. Usually it's four, but this is five. So it's a long, long series.
Yeah, everyone expected to do what everyone expected that Australia would do what India just did to Australia.
Exactly.
I don't
Exactly.
think many people gave India a chance, myself included. I think I shared in our episodes pre-series saying that, hey, I'm actually scared for India. And I think a lot of that is recency bias with what happened against New Zealand, right?
Exactly.
And I also did say after a New Zealand series, I'm curious to see how this team fights back from that because I'm sure they got a lot of heat in social media, in the pressers from that series. For them to able to put on the performance they've done so far. I know the test match is not even done yet. I know it's the first test match, but the fact that they're able to put this performance in will just make them better for it in the upcoming test matches.
No, exactly that. It is, people talk about momentum, right? And they have that momentum going into the next day as well as going into the next couple of matches for sure. So, India puts up 500 and odd of the lead. How do you feel about the declaration in terms of runs and in terms of the time remaining in the day?
I thought it was great. I thought it was great. Maybe they could have stopped a little earlier, but you can understand they wanted Kohli to get 100. Why not? There's plenty of time in the day and the days of the test match as well. So I think it worked out for the way it worked out because
Mhm.
those 4 overs seemed enough for India to make a dent into Australia already.
No, you could not have asked for a more perfect timing because that's all India really needed. So, Australia's opening stand, you had Khawaja, McSweeney, and McSweeney, unfortunately, he got caught with the Bumrah's in swinger.
Yeah, well, I'm first of all surprised that Usman let Nathan or McSweeney face the first ball. But I guess when you are an experienced head in the team, not Travis Head, but an experienced batsman in the team, you can make that call. And as like think about it from a perspective like when you work a job and a senior person in your company or your team tells you to do something, when it's your first day on the job, which it is for McSweeney, well, third day, right? You're gonna say yes. You're not gonna say no. You can face the first ball.
No, and I'm sure there was some discussions about that because you're to your point. In the first innings, it was Kawaja, and you unfortunately McSween just couldn't even get off the mark.
Yeah, yeah. He got a hell of a ball again from Bumrah. Kept a little bit low, must
It
say.
was
Kept a
lower. It
tad
was
low.
lower.
But again, that C movement, that duck off the pitch that happens, it's so hard to play that, and it doesn't help that it kept a little low.
Yeah, no, unfortunate for him. Not a good test match for him, but let's see. Hopefully, he can get a better start going forward. And then comes the night watchman, and who arrives on the scene?
Mr. Patrick Cummins trying to lead from the front came in as a night watchman, and well, I don't think he wanted to play that shot. You could see after he got out, he was pretty upset at himself.
No foot movement.
Yeah, no foot movement. It was on fifth stump, but you know what? Again, shout out to the Indian bowlers. They only had a few overs, but they made the most of it. Siraj kept that nagging line and length right off outside fourth, fifth stump. Cummins had no choice and to play at it. If you think about it, right, from a batting perspective, you have a split second to make a decision. And
Yeah,
it's not like Siraj is bowling 120 Ks. He's bowling 135, 140. And so that you got to make a decision in an instant. And when you're a tail ender, you have a higher tendency to make a mistake, and that's what happened.
yeah, but just focusing on this night watchman, Pat Cummins coming in, because usually Australia they send in Nathan Lyon. So what did you
Yes.
think was? Why did you think that was the case? Was it maybe because he was tired, or was it more just Pat sort of leading from the front?
I think it might have been Pat leading from the front, maybe trying to make some sort of a statement. But just in general, sending a night watchman just sends the wrong message. I've always been a believer of that. Like, night watchman to me is like when you sign a night watchman, it's like you're kind of showing fear that you're scared that your batsman that's supposed to come out cannot handle that situation and make it through. In general, I'm not the biggest fan of sending out a night watchman, but I was surprised to see Cummins versus Lyon, and that could be the reason why.
Yeah, no, exactly that. So fortunately, Cummins succumbs to Siraj's pressure, and then comes Labuschagne. The grit is there. You feel like he's ready for the situation, but then what happens?
My God, Boomerang again with his in swinger, Labuschagne, no clue again.
No clue. Didn't attempt for it. There's no bat. I think he put his arms up. Right. He let it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It was a
yeah.
leaf. He left it.
To my point, he had no clue which way the ball was going to go. It's so hard to tell when Bumrah bowls because some of his balls, when he delivers it on a wobble seam. That makes it that much more challenging. It's either the seam's completely upright and he's able to duck it in or out, or he gets it in on wobble seam. And when it's on wobble seam, like I feel you have to cover the stumps line at least, so that if it does come in, you just got to pray that it hits the middle or doesn't take an edge to slips or whatever or the keeper. But to leave the ball, I don't think it was a good decision, especially because McSweeney got a ball that kept a little low. I
Exactly.
understand on Yeah, I understand on day one when the ball was bouncing quite a bit, and remember you and I talked about it how the Australians are doing a good job leaving it on length, but I felt like now wasn't the time to do it, and it was a poor decision, I think, from him. Again, is it the Boomerang effect? Is it nerves? Who knows? But poor decision making, I think.
No, exactly that. And it was really surprising him leaving the ball, especially with, as you mentioned, McSweeney's wicket. Where was he watching that? Right. It's exactly how it happened. And it did look like he was caught between two minds there, which is unfortunate because Labuschagne is such a gritty batter. He knows what he wants to do, and usually when he's batting, he's in his own bubble. I think the last two innings by him, first innings he was like 2 for 52 balls, and now going for nothing again. Unfortunate for him, and I just think he's caught between two minds.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we got day four coming up. It looks like it's going to be an Indian victory. What do you see? What do you see happening? Do you see any surprises happening? Do you see a little bit of a fight from Australia? I don't think they're going to even come close to the target. We may see a fight, but what do you think?
No, I think you might try to. You obviously will see a fight. I think Australians are never the team to sort of just give up, especially when you have like world class batsmen coming over, Steve Smith, Travis Head. I'm sure they'll try their best, but I just think one, the runs are too high, and India's bowling lineup with that rest and with this momentum going forward, I think they want the wickets. So I think they'll wrap them up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think India's going to come out super hungry. They're going to come up super aggressive. And I think it's going to be extremely challenging for Australia. You can see that the pitch is changing a little bit now again.
Cracks are
Yeah,
appearing.
cracks opening up. We may have Washington Sundar maybe have a role to play as well. We did see Lyon get a little bit of turn the way he got
He
punt
did.
out. But it was a great deceiving of length, but the ball did turn decently enough to beat Punt's attempt at a defense there. So I think Sundar's got a role to play.
Yeah, no, no. But yeah, I actually want to see Sundar Bowl as well. It's exciting to see him bowl in down under, and yeah, I think it's going to be mostly a Boomerang show though. You definitely want to see Boomerang perform well, and I think just the way he's bowling, the form he's in, and the way he's able to use a pitch, I think it's going to be a nightmare for Australia.
Yeah, yeah. I hope India are able to wrap it up quick because you don't want too much mileage on the legs. I feel
Exactly.
like if anything, Australia has to do whatever they can to put mileage in the legs of the fast bowlers because victory is probably the probability of victory is extremely low. So the next best thing to do is to get some batting practice in the middle. And I think there was something said on Crick Info where it was picked up on comms that Warner said that Australia might as well treat day four as a net session.
Hey, you might as well. Maybe you'll last longer, right?
Maybe, maybe. Awesome. Cool. So that's a good place to end it for the day's play. That's a wrap, and that stops. See you tomorrow.